America is the home to liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and the most mass shootings in the world. Here's what you need to know about gun violence in America. It is true that America sees many more mass shootings than these other developed countries. Between 2000 and 2014, there were 133 mass shootings in public populated areas. That excludes terrorism and gang violence. Of course, the U.S. is a much larger country, but if you adjust for population size, it still ranks higher. Of these developed countries, Finland is next, with just 2 shootings over 14 years, but a significantly smaller population size. And in the U.S., this type of tragedy seems to be happening more often. Each of these squares represents a public mass shooting of 4 or more fatalities. Till 2004, they occur over 6 months apart on average. After the assault weapons ban of 1994 was let go by Congress in 2004, less than 2 months go by between them.
Our unalienable right to life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness, those rights were stripped from college kids in Blacksburg and Santa Barbara, and from high schoolers at Columbine, and from first graders in Newtown. First graders.
Public mass shootings always get the most attention because they are always brutal in nature. However, they only account for a small percentage of gun deaths in America. According to the CDC, 92 people are killed with guns every day on average in America. Of these, 30 are homicides, with 1 to 1.5 being considered mass shootings. The majority, at 58, are from suicide. The remaining 4 are a combination of accidents, police shootings, and unknown deaths. This shows up when compared to other countries too. These are the 10 countries ranked highest on development by the UN. The US has the highest suicide rate, and this darker bar shows how many are with guns. Some people think suicide isn't relevant to the gun issue. However, the methods used are very important because suicide attempts often stem from temporary crises, and the majority that survive suicide attempts don't end up dying from suicide. But with guns, those people never get a second chance. This correlation is even more apparent when looking at homicide rates across countries. This graph is adjusted for population size. The US would probably have a higher homicide rate even without guns, but you can see how guns, the black bar here, push that rate far above other countries. These victims are often not the ones you see on the national news. They are disproportionately young black men. Some say there is just more crime in the US, but if you set aside homicides for a moment and look at burglary or assault, you don't see the same spike that you see with homicide. It's that crime in the US is much more lethal. Altogether, all gun deaths from 2000 to 2013 exceeds the number of Americans killed by AIDS, both legal and illegal drug overdoses, the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, and terrorism combined. It should be clear by now that this level of gun violence is a uniquely American problem among developed nations. And here's why. There are a ton of guns in the United States. This chart shows the highest number of guns per country adjusted for population size, and it's still not even close. If you take a look at the countries with the highest human development, you can tell it is really easy to get a gun in the US. All of the other countries listed on this chart